And welcome back to the Second Coming podcast with our host
Cassidy Airdsmith
and me, 1692. We're going by digits. So, welcome everybody back. We got a bunch of cool feedback. Everybody seems to like the show a lot. That's super cool.
Yeah, we had a bunch of friends that watched it, and we got some stuff saying they wish it may be a little bit more controversial, actually, which we were kind of worried about.
I know I didn't want to say anything to like make people go, nah, I don't want to hear about that and turn it off. And then everybody messages us and they're like, hey man, what about this? What about this?
Yeah, I think we try to keep it really open and scientific, so we don't mean really any offense to anyone. We're just kind of saying...
Yeah, just thinking outside the box. I mean, that's the point of the podcast. Think outside the box. If you don't want to, I bet there's a lot of podcasts out there that'll keep you in a box. This one's going to be out on the fringe of it, so that's always cool. And what was cool, I want to give a big shout out to, to the product that hosts our podcast, Num 27 Tattoo Numbing Cream. It is the best numbing cream in the world. You put it on, you get tattooed, you don't even know you're getting tattooed. It's fucking amazing.
Pretty badass. And one of the reasons why we can have this podcast right now.
That's right. And we want to give a shout out to my buddy David Dietz, who's got Dietz World, who does a lot of promo for us. The guy's killer, super nice guy. Rock on, bro. You're doing your thing. So, okay, today we're going to we were going to do this. We kind of get all over the place because that's what we like to do, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to cool people about cool things, and then I want people to call in and argue with me. I like arguing, right?
Yeah.
Man,
you're the guy to do it with, for sure.
Bro, that's the thing. I could argue all day. Like good-natured, good humor argue. I like that. You know, it's a sign of endearment.
As he says, there's no point in living if you don't argue with people.
Nah, you gotta argue, man. You gotta do it. It's all good in the hood. So today we're gonna do this. We looked up. I think we found a list of the most asked, most unanswered questions in the universe.
Okay, but this is going to be around reality, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just kind of goes all over the map. I mean, it could be about, religion, science, politics, reality, kind of, what life is, man. What's going down in Clown Town. And then, so we got a list of a bunch of major questions that people all over the world say are the most unanswered, most asked questions about life and reality, right? So let's try to answer them and not give the same old cliche answers, Let's really think about this one and go out on a limb. So let's do it. Throw it at me. What do we got? What's number one? What's the first question?
How exactly did life begin?
Ooh. Okay. So a typical answer for that one would be we don't know, right? So if you ask the Royal Academy of Science in London, they'll say we do not know, period. Those are the top science guys. They write all the textbooks for the world. They tell us about evolution and primordial soup theory in our books because it gives us all something to hang on to and something to believe in, but they do not know. They'll tell you straight up. You can go to Evolution 2.0 prize and see they'll give you $10 million if you can tell them where life began.
Yeah, our first episode kind of went over this question quite a bit.
Yeah. They have no idea. Literally no idea at all. We know that it didn't evolve out of nothing. So let's go back to this. What is the question?
How did life
begin?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try to give a real answer that people can relate to. Life began for me when I was born. Okay. So that's what's important to me. That's when life began. Now, anything other than that, I don't know. They're going to tell me a million stories. I don't know. I wasn't there. They don't know. They weren't there. So this isn't really important to me. What's important to me is life began for me when my mother and father came together, made a baby, made a little zygote, little fetus thingy, kicked me out into the world like Noah. The water broke. Boom, I'm out, right? I bring all the little animals 2 by 2, which is my DNA pairs. And I float on out here into the world, and here I am. So, to me, that's the beginning. Now, if you ask me where life began here on Earth, we have two problems with that. One, we don't know the definition of life, okay? So we don't know how to define that. We're not talking about a living, breathing thing. We're talking about what is life, So you have a different life than I have, right? Is it the experience, right? When did the experience begin,
Yeah.
right?
One of the biggest questions for reality is actually, can consciousness or ideas exist without the body or outside the physical world? So,
I don't think so.
no.
No, I think you have to have a brain, a physical body. That's the computer, right? To experience, put together, and calculate all potentiality, and then experience that. That is what I think life is experiencing, right? Because you can have one person who's in a coma, right, a complete vegetable, and they have a life. They're alive, technically.
So, technically, the answer to the first question would be life begins when your computer is built.
Yeah, when the computer kicks on, when you boot up and start experiencing things, I think that's life. You're experiencing conscious experience, and then we know now from the double slit experiment that there is nothing here unless there's a witness, conscious, unless there's somebody to experience it. So nothing exists until you're here to examine it, right?
Right.
Therefore, nothing was here before you got here, and nothing will be here after you leave, right? Okay. Because without the brain, without the conscious observer, there's nothing here. That's what science dictates. Okay. So when did life begin? Well, it began for me when my computer booted up and I started experiencing life. And this experience that I'm having is my life, right? Everybody has a different life.
That also takes down from the question, does physical reality exist apart from the human mind? So it does not at all.
No. Well, you have to define, okay, from the human mind or the human brain. People get confused between those two. The brain is meat, well, fat, 66.6% fat. And then the mind doesn't exist. I challenge anyone to show me where the mind is at. Show me. You know, that it reminds me of that old song, where is my mind?
Where is my
Right. But I mean, yeah, show me where the mind is at. You know, you can't. So mind is outside of time and space. That's subconscious mind. So that would be God, right? Therefore, God takes all potentiality in a blank universe, puts it together out of need, and then the brain, right, creating itself as a computer, a fatty computer, takes that, analyzes it, and experiences it, and logs that down as a file or a life. That's why it's the same letters, file, life, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, what do we got? Next question. Give me something good.
Something good.
Yeah, I saw the list that came in on Instagram. I'm like, oh, come on, kick it down.
Is there a pattern behind prime numbers?
Look, man, this is a weird one. So mathematicians everywhere look for a pattern in prime numbers. I believe they've already found it. So that's a long conversation to have. You and I are never going to know that. But what I can know as a living, breathing human, as a mind and a brain, is that there is a pattern in prime numbers, because prime number is something that's only divisible by one in itself, right? Okay,
Yeah.
What else is divisible by one in itself? Me, my life, right? It's only divisible by me and me, right? So therefore, if I look at prime numbers as a marker in life, right, then I'm sure that I'll find that pattern because I am the pattern, right? It's a prime, and I'm built on that. I'm built on a mathematical constant, right? I'm an earth being. And mathematical constants rule all what we call reality. Therefore, just like anything else, the Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio or pi or whatever, I'm built on those prime numbers. And they're divisible by only me and me at that point, wherever I'm at. So, I mean, I believe that. They use them as keys and encryption. I mean, for sure, you know, we know that. But yeah, I think that there is a pattern. I think that they use it for a lot of things. Yeah, I think they found it, sure. That's not very interesting. Let's go to the next one. What do we got? Give me something to break the spaceship. I want to break the spaceship tonight.
Break the spaceship.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, let's just go down the list.
Yeah,
what is the cure for cancer?
Ooh.
This is a good one. We talk about this one all the time.
Yeah, we did. Okay, this is one that's probably going to mess up some people. And I don't even know how you can do that, because sometimes, you know what's crazy? You can give a theory on something and you could be correct. But if people don't like it, then it doesn't matter, man. And some people hate you for it. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, we do know this. Cancer feeds on sugar. Okay, so I do know from experience. I know some really rich people, and they had a lady who lived at their house. She was an artist, and she had, I guess, stage 4 brain cancer. So anyway, I was like, wow, man, all these paintings are really cool. You know, did she leave them to you when she died? And she goes, oh, no, she didn't die. If you have money, you don't die from that. And I was like, oh, man, I was so angry. But anyway, she said, yeah, so the first thing they do is take you off all sugars. Anything that can turn into sugar. I mean anything, breads, rice, pastas, anything that can turn into sugar, okay? Because they eliminate that from your diet and then the cancer starves itself, right? Okay. So that's just getting rid of it. But we talked about cancer. Cancer's weird. So
with the pink ribbon experiment.
The pink ribbon experiment, where they put pink ribbons all over the place, and that brought the number of breast cancer rates through the ceiling because they thought it was placebo.
Yeah.
They literally thought that the more people thought about breast cancer and the more they saw it in public, the more they would think it, the more they would get it. And they did. The numbers went up like it was some crazy amount, you know, hundreds of percent. But we talked about this one time. Imagine a brain tumor or brain cancer, okay? A cancer's caused, right? They'll give you a million reasons that cancer's caused, okay? But you can get cancer just like you can get skin cancer, right? From radiation. Okay. That's from light, okay? All right. So let's imagine that in your mind, in your brain, you're creating electricity and electrical signals. And sometimes when people get a brain tumor or a brain cancer or whatever, they get smarter. They know more about math. They know all these things. You know, they find out it was a tumor pressing on something crazy. I always wondered this: if the amount of electricity and bright light in the mind actually caused something like that, right? If there was like radioactivity coming off that thought, off that light, that creation in the brain, all those synapses and neurons firing, if that could do it. And
yeah, that's crazy. But also, can't you only know you have cancer if you get tested for it? Yeah,
that's a weird one, right? Yeah, you don't even know until you get tested. Yeah.
So you could just live out and then you could die and they'd say it was a heart attack?
Yeah, people do it all the time. Yeah, all the time. Riddled with cancer and never know it. Yeah. And it's crazy because we live in a world where everything's so toxic. So, I mean, you don't know. But I try to never think of those things because I don't care. In my world, it doesn't exist because I know.
Oh yeah, well that was the point I was getting at, is if you just don't get tested, you probably don't have it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. One of the other things is I do know the effect of the human mind on DNA. And it's crazy. There's a million studies on this. So, I mean, this is a legit thing where the human mind, I mean, I think, who was it? Sigmund Freud died from telling himself he was sick, right? Wasn't that the guy? The greatest psychiatrist, or, you know, pseudo-psychiatrist. He literally talked himself into being sick and then became so sick. Well, then once he was sick, he felt it and then he couldn't talk himself unsick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? So I always wonder if if you just believe that you're going to get this thing, you know, then you get it. Your subconscious is running 95% of the show.
Right. So what makes cancer cancerous? Because I know you can just get tumors and they're not cancerous, and then some are cancerous.
Well, cancer eats up the cell. So, I mean, that's what it does. It dies. But there's a million kinds of cancer. But I don't even want to talk about it because I don't like people to even think about it. It's such a negative thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But always remember that your mind is running the show. So if your mind believes that you're 100% healthy and you're in the game and you're doing it, then that's what you're going to do, man. You know, that's what you're going to do. Okay, next question. I don't like that one. I want happy questions.
Can we travel through time?
Ooh. Okay. Man, I'm going to bust some earlobes on this one. This is crazy. Well, here's what's crazy. People watch Discovery Channel. They watch all these shows. They watch Michio Kaku and all these crazy people, Ancient Aliens, Discovery Guy. And these people don't know anything. They know nothing. Literally nothing. Okay? And here's what I don't understand. So we've got, what, 4 dimensions? Okay.
Yeah, that we talk about.
Yeah, the fourth dimension is space and time, right? Space-time. One thing. Okay, so picture this. So you're in a room, you're in a square room, right? You can measure it by how far the ceiling is from you, how far the floor is from you, how far left and right are from you, how far across the room is, back and forth. So that's 3 dimensions, right? Up, down, sideways, and to and fro, right? Okay. Length, width, height, all right. Time space is different. So how you can know time space, because a lot of people get confused on this, right? Time space is when you're in the room, standing in the middle of the room. Okay, now walk to the left. Okay, you just moved in time. It took you time to move there, and you moved to a different space in that room. Okay. I don't know why they don't teach that in college. I don't know why they don't teach that in school. It seems like this great white lab coat secret that they all know, but it's not. It's super simple. So you're in the middle of a room, top, bottom, up, down, left, right, to, fro, and if you move, you just moved in time and space. Okay, so we're traveling in time all day. Now, there's a couple metaphorical things you can do in here, right? One is if I want to change time, well, I can go back and change the stories. We do this all the time in media, news, books, stuff,
Right.
things, right? Okay. So you can change things and then change your place in time and stuff like that. These are all metaphors, right? Okay, and then examples and analogies. You cannot physically go back in time because time doesn't exist. So this is a ignorant conversation that people have. I hate it. It's one of those things where I think where people immediately, what they want to do is they want to know that we can travel in time because they think it's so cool. So they're like, let's hurry up and let's go off in the future. Let's go off in the past. Let's do these things, right? And you can't because it doesn't exist. Only thing that exists is right now. That's what exists, okay? So you literally have the experience you're experiencing, the universe is putting it together and you're witnessing it. That's why they say the double slit experiment is so important. Because what it says is that nothing is actually here unless you're observing it. So a good example of that would be if you're looking off into the woods and you see trees, and they always say if a tree falls in the woods, is there anyone there to hear it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if nobody's there to hear it, did it happen? No, it didn't happen because there's no trees, there's no woods. Until someone's there, they're not there. We know this, it's science, right? Okay.
I like the other one where you talk about you can definitely travel in time when you go from a place that is so far behind regular society, mm-hmm. and then go to another place that's so far ahead regular society. It just depends on where you're at, like you were saying.
Oh yeah, travel in time like that. Like you can go to Arkansas right now, or a better one than that, West Virginia. You can literally get in your car, drive to West Virginia, okay, and see people that are living in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s. Guaranteed. No running water, no electricity, barely can speak. They're there. I mean, you can go shake their hand. They're real people. Then you can get in your car on the same day and drive to Silicon Valley, right, in California, mm-hmm. and you can see people living in a house with robots, right, that are talking to them and doing things and getting implants in their brain and
yeah, they also can barely speak regular English.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can go to West Virginia and you can experience 100 years back, and you can go to Silicon Valley and you can experience 100 years ahead of time. There are people that are living on this planet right now who are living 500 years ahead of you. I
like this one. Science is 10,000 years ahead of us right now.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
Wrap your head around 10,000 years. There's people here that are 10,000 years advanced from us.
We read that paper on that. It was like I can't remember what institute it was. They said that technology is at a point now where the average human, average science professor, right, college science professor, is 10,000 years behind the technology that we actually have here on Earth.
So crazy.
Yeah, wrap your head around that one. All right.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, and we're 200 years as an industrial society on the Earth, basically, right? Wrap your head around 10,000 years in the future. Okay, that's what these guys are playing with in laboratories right now, and average people don't get to see it. artificial intelligence is that way, right? Artificial intelligence.
Well,
just some of the stuff.
That's the same thing as wrapping your head around what a trillion parameters means. You can't. You hear the number and you're like, wow, that's cool, big number. No, that's astronomical.
Yeah, a trillion. Yeah, how many people are on the earth? 7.5 billion. Yeah, that computer has 1.7 trillion pieces of information. Okay, that's crazy. That's another entity from another, universe or whatever. So, but anyway, yeah, there's no way you're traveling in time. Your body is not going to go back and forth. Okay, that's not going to happen. Your mind can. Here's a good experiment. I've done this one. Go sit in your house, turn everything off, lay on the bed, and lose everything you know right now. Pretend that you're a caveman. Okay, I know you're gonna feel stupid. Just do it. I've got buddies out there right now going, "Rock, you're the man." Yep, I'm doing it. They're literally right now ripping their clothes off and climbing around on the floor, going, "Man, I'm gonna drink beer and eat roast beef off the floor all day. This is great." No. Listen, pretend that you're a caveman. Okay, you've literally in your mind traveled back in time. What you deem to be time is just what you deem to be important, right? Try to imagine that you're hyper intelligent, you're in the future, you've already learned a bunch of things. I mean, that's a good example. That's a good thing to do anyway. And try to live that way for a day, right? You're changing your experience and your mind. The body is just a vehicle, okay? It's like being in a car. The car can travel in time. I can drive to California, and it takes time to get there.
Yeah, okay? I also like this.
I can turn around and go back, too.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like the human body. But it's not going to be like what you think. You're not just going to, boop, you're there. So, no. But yeah, go ahead.
I liked the example you make all the time with us on our everyday lives, too, that we try to regularly do is people always say fake it till you make it, but I like the one where you just live it.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Yeah, just live it, man. Live it. I got a buddy, he's a pro fighter. And I knew him. We grew up together. He's an artist and just a normal, all-around good dude. And he's like, I'm going to be a pro fighter. I'm going to be, every guy thinks that, right? He just lived it. He just did it every day. That's just what he does, right? And the whole time, and I was one of them too. We kind of all got in there and we're like, oh, come on, man, knock it off, dude. You're not gonna be in there with the pro guys. Those guys have been doing it their whole life and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's what he does now. He won the gold medal at the Pan Ams. I think they called it Pan Ams in South America.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He's amazing. But, yeah, you just live it. He had no idea what he was doing. He just threw himself in there, and they were like, here, eat this, do this, do this. And he's like, oh, I'm a fighter, so that's what I do, and just do it. And, he changed his entire life. He traveled time and space, became this other person, and basically he's not even the person that I knew before. He's a totally different human being. Might as well have just changed his name, to Superman. I don't know. The guy's pretty incredible. But anyway, what's our next one? What do we got? We love these questions.
Where is all the antimatter?
Man, this is crazy.
It's a hard concept to wrap your head around. It's made of atoms with the opposite electrical charges of corresponding matter.
Are you just reading this off a script? This sounds crazy. Well, okay, so where's all the antimatter?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is antimatter?
Antimatter is anything other than the shit you can touch.
So then what is dark matter?
Person. Same thing. So dark matter, I believe, is the energy in the nothing.
Well, there's also dark energy.
Right. So, what there also is a theory. Okay. There's a theory. All right. So this is how you get money. This is how you get paid. You can come up with a theory that there's something there that's not there, and then get funded to find that thing that's not there. Right? Okay. That's always been interesting to me. But what they're looking for is, okay, imagine space, right? Okay. And then there's a bunch of particles. Okay. You got little particles that you can't see. Okay. Now take all the particles out. Okay. What is that thing that is space? What is the emptiness? What is it?
The blackness of space.
Yeah, not even black. What's the nothing? Not even black. What is there? The nothing. So they're looking for that. What is there that's not there? right? So, and I'm sure that there's a lot of wordplay going on in there. I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
lot of money changing hands, trying to do this thing. But I personally believe that there's nothing, there's a void, which is a vacuum, and me, Christian roots. So God speaks of that. In the beginning, there was a void, right? And his face moved over the void. And the face of the deep, there's nothing, right? In the beginning, which is like basically saying in the vacuum, right? God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so in the vacuum, there's nothing, okay? But in that nothing, okay, we need to be able to describe it, right? So that's what they look for, a way to describe that and to see if there's anything in there they can pull out and use, right? Which sounds kind of crazy, but that's what they're trying to do. So I believe that there's nothing and then there's potentiality. I believe if you could basically think of a bunch of red and blue little tiny dots flying around in space, okay? Let's just say there's red ones and blue ones, right? Okay. And then the mind, whenever it needs something, right, takes a few of those red and blue dots and kind of puts them together and forms a thing. And then you see it. So there's nothing in space but a bunch of particles, and the mind, before the human, the mind goes, hey man, I can't see out here. I need something. It's just black.
And this,
boom, and then there's light.
and the dark matter and the dark energy and the other matter, that's all different than black holes, because I know you have a different theory on black holes.
I do, man. Black holes are easy to explain, and I don't understand why it takes so long for them to go around in circles on this one. Stephen Hawking, who I don't know, I'm gonna hurt a lot of feelings on this one, but I totally do not believe in any of that Stephen Hawking crap. So, and I've read his book, so don't think I'm one of those guys who's just talking out my butt. But I don't think that they're doing what they're telling you they're doing. So the black hole is they're trying to find out, where does information go once you've seen it, heard it, thought of it. How do they get it back out of your head? So there's a black hole. Try to picture you're the pupil in your eye. Okay, so around the pupil of the eye, what is it, the iris, is beautiful. It looks like a galaxy, right? Okay, and then in the center is a black hole. Okay, so what they say is that all matter gets to the event horizon, becomes two-dimensional, like words on a page, goes into the black hole, and then it's lost forever. Okay, so that's like you. Let's say that you were reading a book, right? And you read some secret stuff, like secretive stuff. And then it went into your black hole in your eye, and it's gone forever. It's just in your mind, right? Okay. And then somebody wants to get that information back out and put it back together. They want to know how to do that.
Haven't they done that with the giant golden lakes under the earth?
I mean, they're trying. That's a neutrino collector or detector. But yeah, the black hole thing is they're trying to find out how to retrieve information from a void. Okay? And they believe that in that you can time travel, and there's a lot of implications with that one that I don't think people think about. Like, we're still thinking about outer space and black holes out there, which have no bearing on us at all. That does not matter to us. Black holes do not matter to the average human being, period. We're never going to get to one. We're never going to one. It doesn't matter. The black hole they're worried about is the black hole that is your mind. When that information goes in, they want to know how to get it back out. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if they can work a mathematical model that works on a black hole in space and apply that to you, they know that those math equations are going to be the same, because we are the same as what is in space. So
Micro, macro action.
Yeah, micro, macro. We know that. So that's cool. I mean, there's that, and Stephen Hawking, who was the nut in the shell, I think. Oh no, what was his book? The Universe in a Nutshell?
Yeah.
I think it was Stephen Hawking that was the nut in the shell. That's what I think. That guy's a crazy person. But anyway, okay, what do we got for the next one? I'm trying to answer some questions to make people be like, what is this? I got this.
Do we have to die?
Ooh.
This one's fun.
I mean, it's an experience. That's a weird question. That's going to hurt some feelings. I don't know. Hurts my feelings.
Why?
I think we don't.
You won't?
No, we don't have to die, period. I think, I go back, okay, there's a couple ways to look at this one. right? One is that science has already solved the problem of death. Okay, we understand what beta decay is. We know why the human cells die. We've already solved this problem. Done. That conversation's over. It's never going to apply to you because you can't afford it. Okay, so that's where the feelings get hurt. Now, the other one is this. I think when people get confused when they talk about their self, so like in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Where the Gospel of Thomas, which is like one of my favorite ones, is taken out of the Bible, right? So the Gospel of Thomas, it says, why are you worried about dying when you've never lived?
Right.
Oh man, that's some deep shit, right? So the point of that is, what is living? Well, that's the experience. So then what is dying? Well, having no more experiences, right? Okay. So the body's going to expire anyway. Why worry about it? But what you're worried about is that death where you keep living and experience nothing. Just wake up every day, do the same thing, go to bed, go home, eat the same food, go to sleep. Well, you're dead already, right? So you need to live. You need to get out and experience, right? That's what you're here for. That's your life. The life that you got is to go experience, right? So can we not die? I mean, these are questions that I think they're above most humans' pay grades, and it's designed that way.
Yeah.
Some people are going to get to be downloaded into computers. Some bodies are not going to die.
That's so crazy. Actually, the next question was literally, can we download our brains into computers?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I don't understand. Can we download our brains into a computer? I mean, it's already been done. That's why we have AI. See, this is what I'm talking about. They ask these crazy questions in the world to distract you, right? Can we download the human brain into a computer? Absolutely. We already have. So every time you get on your phone, your tablet, your computer, anytime you go buy products and use your card or whatever, that's exactly what you're doing. You're downloading all of your information, right, into a huge supercomputer. So you're downloading your brain and your life, your experiences, all the things you're doing into this huge supercomputer that's eating all this information, right? And it's going to live when you're not. Your body's going to expire and that supercomputer is going to live, right? And so that thing is going to have all of these experiences, all of these answers, be able to do all these calculations, and your body's going to expire, right? So then you're left with this one. Well, do you want to live forever? So do you take part in this? Do you download yourself, right? Do you download all your information? I mean, there's websites right now where you can literally get an AI and start downloading all your information.
That's
right?
so crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but you know that your body's going to die. So do you want your information to live on, or do you, when you kick the bucket and they throw you in the dirt, all the crazy cool thoughts that you ever had your entire life, do you want those to be gone?
Yeah, I think my favorite one that you talk about is, like you said, most of us aren't going to be able to afford to live forever. So that's out of the question. But the most
that's one of the conversations that gets me heated, man.
And motivational thing that we talk about is that you don't need that. You can just create, like we do this podcast, we write these books, we make these paintings, all archivable.
Yeah, archivable. Yeah, you're going to live forever, man. So I always tell everybody it's just like Jesus, Muhammad, anybody else, right? They lived a very short lifetime. Jesus, 33 years, right? Okay, if he was dude, and we're going by the story. Okay.
Yeah.
No arguments out there, people. Just roll with me on this one. But in just a few years, a 3-year period, he created a thing, right? Mm-hmm. That changed the world and went into a book. And then still to this day, people are trying to live through him, say his words, do his things. It's like he's just right here. Literally, you could be talking to Jesus while you're sitting on the bed at night, and he's been dead for 2,000 years.
Yeah, it's still the oldest book and the most popular book that we have. Or not the oldest, but the most popular book on the earth today.
It's like, I think it's the most printed book ever. So yeah, I mean, you have this thing where this dude is going to live forever through other people, right? And so you have that, you could do that.
Yeah, I think that's the same idea with the Day of the Dead in Mexico, is to just, those people will live on as long as you still have people talking and about you, and you made yourself a legacy.
Yeah, so make a big legacy, let them talk, build some stuff. What do you got? What's the next one?
Is free will, do we have free will, or is it just an illusion?
Ooh, we got to get deep on this one. Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know. That's one of those questions where the conspiracy theory people come out and they're like, "Oh man, that's a little deep, dude."
Yeah.
So, free will is weird. All right, you can literally. Everybody who's listening to this, I want you to wrap your head around this one. You can walk outside wherever you're at right now and make a decision. Okay, you can decide to go left or right. You can decide to go eat. You can decide to go drink some alcohol. You can decide to run out in the middle of the street, yank your clothes off, and get hit by a car. You can decide. So you're making your decision, right? You think that's free will. You can decide when you want to do it and what you want to do, right?
Correct.
Okay, but it gets deeper than that. Are those really your ideas?
Yeah, this is the crazy one.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So is that what you would really do, or are those all things that you've heard?
Or my favorite example was when that guy slowed down the news and saw that in between each clip,
Oh, yeah.
there was a picture or an image of something that said something. So everyone's super patriotic because they love the country.
Yeah, right? And then, so you immediately think you're making a decision, but that decision was based off of something your subconscious saw like 3 days earlier, where McDonald's had an ad. You're like, you know what? I'm going to make free will. I know I'm supposed to eat a salad today, but I'm going to go have some Chipotle, right? But you don't remember it's because you saw a Chipotle billboard on your way there.
Yeah.
Right? So your subconscious saw it. You didn't see it. But your subconscious was like, hey, Chipotle, I'll try to remember that, right? So are you really making free decisions, or are you just shuffling through a bunch of shit that's been piled into your brain, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know about free will. I don't know, man. I don't know if we have that luxury anymore. I would like to think that you can make your decisions, but unless you're a hyper intellectual and you can really sit down and rationally take apart what you're doing, I don't know if you're actually doing it or not.
So how about if you were dropped off into the woods and you've lived there for years, would then you be able to have the free will because you're not filled with propaganda?
It's all propaganda. That goes back to the whole the what was that stupid thing? The killer whale at SeaWorld, Willie, Free Willy. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's how they do it, right? So they have the whole thing where, oh yeah, you have free will. It's a subconscious play. Why does everybody remember that stupid killer whale?
Yeah.
There's a million killer whales in a million parks. Why do we remember that? Because it was Free Willy, right? Free will. So that's the whole, they put him in there, crippled him, and then, we're going to let him free. Well, when they let him free, he dies, right? Because, fuck, man, they crippled him up, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think if you go off and live in the middle of nowhere, and, you could probably start making some free will decisions,
Oh, yeah, taking your pet chihuahua and putting it in the woods, like, be free, little man.
Yeah. It's not
going
to work out too good for the little guy. But I think free will is weird because, okay, try this one on, right? So let's say you decide, oh, fuck this, I'm going to kill myself. Fuck this, I'm out, right? You make that decision, right? It's free. I can do what I want, right? Okay. But you're not really making that decision. You saw a movie about that when you were a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And told you how to do it, right? And so did you really think that, right? You didn't do that. I believe free will is the ability to rationally decide what it is that you want and what kind of experience you want to have every day. So that's what life is, right? Life is an experience, okay? That's your purpose on earth, is to experience this thing. And then you have to freely decide what kind of experience do you want. And then when you've decided that, you have to deal with those repercussions. Let's say that you wake up and you go, I decided the experience I want to have in my life, right? You're like a McDonald's employee, right? And you go, I want to be a king. Okay, no problem. That's your life. You can make that decision. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go form an army, and you're going to go try and take another king's throne. All right? I know you're just a McDonald's employee, but that's the decision you made, so good luck on you, buddy. Probably you're going to get squished. You're going to die in a huge fight.
Well, isn't that still an illusion? Because you would have seen how glorious a king is.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, the point is that if that's the experience you want to have, then get ready for it, because that experience of wanting to be a king might just end in a bloody battle where you die. But you died fighting a king, so I mean that you wanted to be a king, right? So that was your free decision. You can do that. Just remember that decision comes with consequences. So that's your free will, right? And then everything that goes along with that. I don't know. I don't like this question because I feel like I'm trapped on that one sometimes. I don't like it. I don't know how you answer that one. What's the next one we got? A good one?
Is there a line between art and not art?
Yes.
So it's not...
Fuck yeah. I
No,
feel
it's
attached to
objective.
this one. Being an artist for a living for 30 years, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think when people say, oh, art is, I just created this thing and I love to look at it, so it's art. No, absolutely not. You design something, looks great, you decorated, right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference between decorations and art, okay? Art takes skill. You have to have a working knowledge of what you're doing, right? Just like building a house. Architecture isn't like, well, I like it this way. You can't build a bridge, right, and just like the way it looks because that's how you would do it, and then the bridge falls apart, right? This is the same thing with art. You have to have a working knowledge of what it is that you're doing. And man, we live in an age of grown toddlers right now.
Yeah, I might have been able to say art was subjective a few years ago, but now being in a different standpoint and seeing people coming into an art gallery showing their art,
it's crazy.
It gave me a whole new viewpoint on how people...
Yeah, I don't understand it. Sometimes I feel so crazy. People think that if they just take some colored pencils and crayon and paint whatever and just make a thing on a paper that's art. They don't understand. That's cool and all. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's the first steps to enjoying wanting to learn about art, right? Little kids do it. You go to grade schools. I see grown adults coming from the art college here doing artwork that literally looks like it was done in grade school. And then they try to give you an explanation of why. And the true explanation is because they just aren't artists, and that's crazy. So,
well, yeah, we know already that it doesn't need to necessarily be perfect, like a perfect painting of a person. But it needs to have some qualities, like color theory is a real thing.
Yeah, color theory is a real thing. Composition's a real thing.
The golden ratio is a real thing.
there
Understanding
needs to be things. Yeah. So, yeah, there needs to be some structure and skill level to creating art, and there needs to be a purpose to creating that artwork, right? There was a girl that came in a while back and she had a drawing. It was just of she's like, oh, I do art, I'm gonna be an artist, I'm going to art college. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I entertain everybody. I'm like, sure, show me what you got. It was literally some colored pencil cartoon face there, and every single one of them looked the same. So I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they're. I feel like sometimes they're in a parking lot somewhere, like planning it out, and then they all show up like different days. But it looked like a little kid drew a face, right? And then it had like a girl sticking her tongue out, and it looked like was like a acid tab on her tongue or something. The same thing you would see if you hit Pinterest. And I'm wondering to myself, I'm like, this is an adult. This is like a 19, 20, 21-year-old person. How do you look at that and think that you're making art? Well, I can see that you think that you have a hobby where you like to color. Well, that's fun. And I don't ever come down on that. Man, if you like to color, sit there and color all day long. That's great.
No, my favorite... Actually, no. This one was even worse. The guy that we talked about him in the last episode, he came in the other day. He had a huge argument with us over everything. But he said that he enjoyed the art that was up here, but it was good and he could do the same thing.
Right.
And then showed us his work. He painted half of a canvas green, half of a canvas blue, and painted a brown rectangle with a triangle on top and a half a circle in the corner.
Yeah.
And oh my, he was an art professor.
Yeah, sometimes he was the art professor guy, right? And then I think sometimes they're just fucking with me, right? Like I think that, like, sometimes my paranoia kicks in and I'm like, man, are these guys just like, hey man, let's see if he falls for this one. And they come in and they just like got some poop and a banana smeared on a piece of paper. And I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, this is my idea of modern art. And I'm like, oh, what the hell you're doing, man? It's really weird, bro. But anyway, so, okay, what's our next question? Yes, there's a line between art and not art. Yes.
A real one.
You need to have purpose and skill. All right. Next.
Read some books. What should the goal of humanity be?
Ooh, that's a rough one, bro. What is the goal of humanity and what should it be? Well, it depends. If you're a human being, just a regular person, and I use all these words arbitrarily, but if you're just a person, your goal should be to experience this wonderful life, to experience the sky, the rain, the trees, the animals, the food, the stubbing your toe, the pain, the crying, to experience it, to laugh. That should be your goal. That should be the goal of life. Your purpose in that is to experience those things. You'll never get to experience those again after you're gone.
So everyone, as a whole humanity, that should be everyone's goal across the board?
No. So that should be what each and every person should achieve, right? Okay. But it's not. Each person, free will, right, has the free will to be able to decide, do I want to have a miserable experience? Do I want to have a dangerous experience? Do I want to have a controlling experience? Do I want to be controlled? Do I want to, whatever, right? So I think what's going on now is that we have been in this controlled slavery type thing for so long that people have forgotten what it's like to experience life. That's why I tell everybody every day, look, dude, get out of the house. When you get off work, and I know everybody's working too much. If you're not working too much right now, just don't even listen to my podcast, man. Go turn it off and go away. Because everybody works too much. And I know those people, and they're good people, and they work hard so they can have a good life, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're not working hard in today's world right now, you're probably just a lazy, whatever. So anyway, if you work too much, right, you've forgotten that you have one life. And if you're always dealing with other people, and which is okay, I mean, everybody has a family, take care of them. But remember that you have one life. And at the end of it, you're the only one that goes in that box. Mm-hmm. Okay? I know your family loves you. I know your kids love you. I know you love your mom and dad, or whatever it is. But at the end of your life, when you die, only you go in that box. Nobody's going in there with you. Okay? So try to remember that. And while you're doing all these things in your life, working a lot, taking care of other people, doing these things, try to smell the roses. I know that sounds cliche. Go out and stand in the rain, man.
Well, it's crazy too. That's what you were saying about free will. Even if you do have a family, this seems crazy, but you can buy a plane ticket and fly to India and say fuck all.
Yeah, see an elephant.
Yeah,
man.
And never come back if you don't want to.
Yeah,
this is the earth.
Yeah.
You can go and do whatever you want.
That was one of my favorite sayings in the Bible, was or one of the little verses in there was, when Job, everything bad had happened to Job, right? So God took everything from him, was punishing him, taking his family, put boils on him, just tore the dude apart, Took all of his money, took his land, took everything. And Job was like, oh, woe is me, God, this is so rough. This is terrible. Why is this happening? And God said, hey, man, didn't I make the world big enough for you? right? Like if you don't like it, man, go. You can move. You can just go. But what I tell everybody, because I do know I'm a realist, man, and I know people get trapped in situations. But get out, go, man. If you're a full-grown man, if you're a full-grown woman, you got kids, you got stuff, man, walk away, bro. Take a day off. Tell them, hey, one of my favorite sayings, fuck the fuck off. I need some air. And go walk. Man, just walk. Listen to some birds. Don't think about bills. Don't think about work. Try to remember, this is your time on earth. Walk, smell the air, feel the rain, walk in the beach, take your shoes off. Go for a walk down the road with no shoes, right? And remember who you are. Remember, hey man, I'm a living, breathing flesh person here with a brain. I need some good food, some water. I need to walk. My legs were built for walking. Let's do this, right? And try to enjoy life. You know, that's what it's all about, man. That's what I think, you know? And don't get trapped up in this stuff that everybody else is doing where, you're like so into video games and internet and things and stuff and work and all these other things going on that you forget, man, it was beautiful outside today.
I almost think that anything that makes people raise eyebrows is the thing that you should be doing.
I agree.
Like, you should be running everywhere. You should be being loud. You should be being unpredictable.
Yes.
All these things that people do not want you to be doing and are looked down upon are actually the things that are the most humanly normal.
Yeah. I think after the plague hit, everybody pretty much just turned into this quiet, not talking, weird thing. And people need to remember, man, wow, get out there. Life is awesome, you know? Literally, and here's another thing too. TV or whatever people do now is YouTube and Netflix and all that.
Yeah.
It's told you that you need to go on vacation. You need to go to Disney World. You need to go to this resort. You need to go to Cancun. You need to do this. Hey, man, you know what else is really cool? Take your clothes off and put some shorts on and go lay in the grass in your front yard and roll around. Right? Just go do that if you're a grown adult, I want you to go in the kitchen, take a spoon out of the drawer, go out in the front yard and get on your knees and dig a hole. Okay? And just see what's in the dirt. Just dig a hole, right? Just stay there for 1 hour. All right? That's all you got to do, just 1 hour. That's meditation. I don't want you on a yoga mat. That's weird. I don't want you to sit there and rub crystals on your forehead or find your sacred chakra points. I want you to go out in the front yard, get on your knees, dig a hole with a spoon, right? And see the bugs that are in there, right? And then you're going to remember what it was like to be young, what it was like to be a kid. And you're going to be like, oh, I forgot this feeling.
You're going to be like, where the fuck is the hose at?
Yeah, where's the garden hose? How can I turn this into a mud puddle? This is great. Yeah, I think people forget that. And there's a happy thing in that. I mean, I do it all the time. You know me. I go to the beach. Oh man, I'm in it. I'm building sandcastles, man. And nothing else in the world exists at that moment. And I remember what it's like. And
to live life.
Yeah, I don't need drugs. I don't need a resort. I don't need a vacation that costs $3,000. I need a spoon and some dirt. You know, and that's a good day, man. I think. Okay, so what are we at? 50 minutes?
53.
The show's over for today. I got more questions for tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for listening. This has been the most fun thing we've ever done in the evening.
I know. It feels way too short.
I know. It's super cool, man. I could just keep talking forever. But everybody told us to keep it under 45 minutes, so we're going to try and do that for a while. Thanks, everybody, man. Big shout out to all my friends. Everybody who's hit us up on Instagram. You guys are awesome. Don't forget Num27 Tattoo Numbing Cream. And you can get our books on Amazon. Just look up Cassidy Aerosmith on Amazon Books.
And $16.92.
Yep, and $16.92.
Can't forget about Dad Juice.
And then hit us up, man.
Let us know any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have.
Yeah, let us know, and then we'll get back at you, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out if you give all your information when you give us messages. And for tonight, man, peace and chicken grease.
Fare thee well.
Fare thee well.